My name is Dr. Jeremy Hopwood and I'm going to tell you about my final year projects for 2017-2018. All my projects are environmental geochemistry projects, and they all concern the uptake of lead in tap water, that's drinking water. And the little picture here shows the source of that lead, which is lead water pipes. I'm going to go down. If you're wondering where the lead comes from, let's take a typical pavement. So there's a pavement down a street, cars down one side, and if you look very carefully, can you see there's a little box there? That's known as a stop tap, and there's a little, you might have seen these, they're little gratings, square size, that are in the pavement. Inside there, if you would take the lid off, which you can't because you need a special tool, but if you did, you'd see a tap. And that tap is to your tap water supply. If I show you some typical stop taps and bring them over here, these are the sorts of things. Sometimes they have water in. Obviously if it says gas on it, then it's a stop tap to a gas. But the water ones, you can see this one says water stop tap on it. So you'll find these in the street. Move that away. If you look underneath, then there's actually a pipe there. And here's some diagrams. So have a look at this one here. This is a house. There's this blue one here is your mains water pipe, and there's actually two connecting pipes. And in older properties, that's properties built before 1970, these are typically, this green pipe here and this yellow pipe is typically made of lead. So when tap water comes in to the mains pipe, it's free of lead, or the lead is extremely low concentrations, but it then passes through this bit of pipe and this bit of pipe, which may well be lead, may have been laid 100 years ago, and then it goes into the house. The house's pipes are made of copper, but on the way it will have picked up lead. And water companies are interested in this lead because they have to make sure that the lead levels in the tap water are below a certain limit, which is currently 10 ppb. So why are we interested in lead? Lead is a health concern. So lead isn't good for you in any way, and so we try and minimize it. And so for water companies, what they try and do is they try and make sure that their tap waters, when they pass through the piece of lead pipe, uptake as little as lead as possible. Okay, so they can do things like change the pH, they can add things like add little bits of phosphate to the tap water, all trying to minimize that release of lead from the pipe. Obviously the best thing to do is to remove the pipe, but that's expensive, that type of replacement. And as I said, this yellow part, that's the customers. So actual fact, the customer would have to pay for changing that pipe. The little diagram below shows another scenario, less common, but sometimes there's a common pipe, all of it made of lead, and then you share this supply pipe. It's got a common pipe just here, and so this is another situation. What will our projects be looking at? Most of the projects don't go out into the don't measure lead in houses particularly. What we're interested in is the chemistry that goes on at the surface of the lead water pipe. So when lead comes off, one of the things it does, it reacts with anions in the tap water like carbonate, and it forms lead carbonates. Sometimes if phosphate is there, it can form lead phosphate. And what we want, if possible, is to encourage a layer to form on the insides of the pipe which is insoluble, so that any lead that comes off reacts and mineralizes and stays on the pipe and doesn't go into the tap water. So all the projects that I'm doing are basically concerning that. They're all to do with this mineral layer. So if you're interested in the projects, sort of things you might cover, depends on the project, but growing crystals is one of them. Obviously interest in environmental geochemistry, drinking water, colloids, microscopy, X-ray diffraction, infrared. One of the projects is to corrosion electrochemistry, and then they're all connected to public health. And there may be one other project which is to do with sampling lead in tap water. So if you're interested in any of those, then come and see me. You can read what's on these pictures here. This is a little cross section. This is the mineral layer on the pipe. This bit is the lead, and this is the bit which is actually a resin which we put into the lead pipe so we could section it across. And then this is looking down on the mineral layer. And then these are some synthetic crystals that we've grown. So fascinating subject. Crystallography, mineralogy, environmental chemistry, that sort of thing. Come and have a chat. I've listed these projects actually. So here's the list: making large crystals, understanding this is a particular type of crystal called pyromorphite, and then there's different types of mineral systems, analysis of lead and tap water, and the electrochemistry of lead. If you want to read a little bit more, there's a paper that you can have a look at, and the address where you can find it is there. Otherwise, come and see me in my office.